Back to the 2019 Honda Grom rebuild. I wanted to make sure I put the front end of the bike in here so you can see what the bike's actually supposed to look like, because the whole rest of it is fairly unrecognizable as a bike, right? So all the fairings taken off this side, seat, all this. This is actually built. This actually looks bike-ish, right? This, thank God, looks bike-ish because that was absent when I bought it, right? And then we move forward and you'll notice the front, or the top half of the engine is missing. There's the timing chain hanging there, which, by the way, if you get a chance, the timing chain for a Honda Grom is the tiniest little timing chain you've ever seen. So like, here's the chain here for the bike itself, which is a normal like solid chain like this. This one's so little. Anyway, you'll notice that the head of the bike is missing. I have it, don't worry. It's right here. Okay? The reason why the head is here rather than here where it should be is because that pesky stud I told you about, that header stud, there it is there, and I'm going to zoom in real close, right? So you can see it's all scuffed up and chewed up because I've been using all sorts of tools I can find, right? You'll notice this lip right there, that piece is actually fragment or part of the original stud that was stuck in there. And then you'll notice this other piece that seems to be lodged inside. That is the second removal tool that has broken off inside of this in my efforts to pull it out. The first one broke off and I drilled it back out. This is actually the second one to break off in here. And you'll notice too, if you compare it to the other hole like this, right, it seems to have kind of gone off center as well. It's not actually centered in the bolt itself. So all of that to say, what is the best solution for this now is to replace the freaking head. So this is the head of the Honda Grom sitting out here on the floor of my garage rather than on the top of the engine where it should be. Keeping in mind, by the way, that this engine was running just fine. There's nothing wrong with this head other than said bolt, which has decided to give a massive middle finger to me and continue to do so, right? I have spent money on bits. I have broken bits, broken removal tools, spent countless time. I even tried to weld it. I thought, okay, I'll weld a nut on first and remove it that way. No. Everything has gone sideways for it. And actually, to be fair, the exhaust that was on here was actually this really crappy Amazon, like $70 piece. If you've got that exhaust, no offense, but the studs that they use for that, or the bolts they use for that, are trash, just trash. So here's my trashed head for the Grom. And you know, it's, if you've ever seen a Grom head, it's got tiny little valves like so. There's not a whole lot to it actually. It's got the, there's the retainer there for the camshaft and the bearings like that. So there's the sealing. Oh, it's actually spinning. Look at that. Like I knew I was talking about it, right? So it spins freely. The nice thing is putting it back in time is not going to be that difficult, he says with confidence, because there's the timing mark right there where my my finger is, right? And then you can see the timing mark on the camshaft there where the bearing will go in. Or not the bearing, rather the sprocket, right? Oh, there it spins again. And then I can use the shaft here to turn it over, and then there's a timing mark right here too. So as long as this is on top dead center and this one here is on top dead center when I put a new one in, we should be good. I've got the other parts here. So here's actually the timing sprocket, right? And there's the bolt I had to ugga-dugga out of it. And then there's the cover, like so, trying to keep everything organized-ish, right? So anyway, went to my local Honda shop, ordered a new head, which thankfully, because it's a Honda Grom, was only like 80 bucks. So I'm just going to cannibalize all the parts I can off of this one onto the new one. It's also got the O2 sensor here on the side, which I'm going to pull out and use again. Nothing is actually getting replaced. I mean, the head, the rest of the engine is actually pretty good. There's some decent, I don't know, debris in there, but it should be fine. That's just what happens with an internal combustion engine. Anyway, yeah, so replacing that part should come in this week. I'm just going to literally transfer everything over, slide it back in, put it back on time, and then thankfully that should be the point at which I can put on this dope Vance & Hines exhaust. All of this is because I wanted to put it on, well, not all of it, but I wanted to put on a nice exhaust, so I'll finally be able to put this dope exhaust on and hear this bad boy run. If you'll recall from the last video, the tank is screwed. You can't see it very well, but it's actually, here we go. There's a good shot of it. You see that tear along the paint? That's because this, when the bike was dropped, it hit the tank so hard that it actually pushed it over about 2 full inches. So it no longer lines up with the spine of the bike, which means the fairings don't line up right, which means the tank has to be removed. So this tank has been ordered. It should be here at the same time as the head. The head goes on, the tank goes on, the fairings go on, bike is rebuilt, is the plan. All right, just wanted to give you an update because I know I said it would be a lot faster than it was, but it has not been fast because this bike has thrown a lot more at me than I thought it would. So stay tuned. As soon as I get those parts in, they're going on. Hopefully you'll be able to hear this fire up in the next video. Thanks for sticking with me.